Warning, there may be flashing lights within the trailers within this video. Please be sure if you have epilepsy or any type of seizures that you proceed with caution while viewing this video. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, AtomicDudMan here, and I'd like to welcome you back to another Saints Row video. Today we will be discussing a Saints Row 5 compiled community wishlist that I will be remaking for you for better quality for my viewers. In my original video, I hope to right the wrongs of the visual defects and also the audio deficiencies. Also, in my latest video, it shows that 91.6% of you are not yet subscribed. If you could, please click that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out a lot. What this channel is really about is pure gaming news, game reviews, and a voice for the community's wishlist of what we want and future titles of upcoming video games. I try to upload at least one time a week, so if you want to be notified when a new video goes live, hit that small little bell icon down below. With all that being said, I hope you get to kick back, relax, and enjoy today's show. What we currently know about the next Saints Row title on February 20th of 2021. What we currently know is that Volition is working on a new Saints Row title and that they've been working on it since Agents of Mayhem released, racking up 3.5 years of development. Also, Mr. Saints Godzilla has played the new Saints Row title and is well known that he prefers Saints Row 1 and 2. He is under a DMCA, which is a legal binding contract that says he will not release any information prior to the game he just played, the new Saints Row installment. So all he could say is that OG players of Saints Row fans won't be disappointed in the next Saints Row installment. So, we as Saints Row fans can reasonably infer that Volition is taking the Saints Row franchise back to the roots of actual gang lore, similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2. For those of you who are fans of the newer titles, don't worry, we did not forget about you, and we will discuss what is in store for you later on within this video. Volition has had some financial issues due to their Saints Row spin-off, Agents of Mayhem, did not meet company expectations. So Volition is now trying to do a fan service in this next title and bring their divided fan base of the newer and older Saints Row fans together in unity into one game. The company has been working on Saints Row 5 or the next Saints Row installment since 2017, so it has been in 3.5 years of development according to DS Volition's Twitter account. This is a ton of time to add what the community wants and what the game really needs in polish. To make the next Saints Row installment a financial success, Volition has to release their game before Grand Theft Auto 6 does. This is an extremely easy feat to accomplish due to the fact that Grand Theft Auto 5 has been milked from 3 generations of consoles, so it's safe to say that we will see Saints Row before GTA 6. Volition used to release their games before Grand Theft Auto titles every year. They would release their game right before and people would buy Saints Row, and then a few months later GTA would release and then they would purchase GTA. This could even further set Volition up for a financial win if they do this, especially with the generation consoles. Now that they're here, we could potentially see some really stunning graphics with next gen. It is also well known that Volition stated the main cast of characters that we've seen in Saints Row 4 will not be returning in any future titles of Saints Row, but we can still be hopeful and see as a fan base. With every great Saints Row game, there's been a wonderful story behind it. So let's move on to the next installment of Saints Row, Potential Story. Warning, there's a spoiler section ahead. If you do not want any of the Saints Row stories spoiled for you, please do refer down to the description below for the timestamps to pass the spoiler section. Thank you. I personally do not see Volition making a sequel and or continuation of Saints Row due to the fact that the Earth was blown up and Johnny Gat has taken Lucifer's mantle in Hell and is now the king and ruler of Hell. We are left with the notion that the Saints are now conquerors of the galaxy and now own a time machine to where they can go back any point in time, but the Saints do not get to exist in this universe, which is awful because how are you about to have a Saints Row game without playing as the Saints? What needs to happen is they need to retcon everything after Saints Row 2 and make it an acid trip, or the other thing that the company could do is a hard reboot of the entire franchise and recreate the entire timeline and just start from scratch. Personally, I think just rebooting the entire franchise would be the best option, seeing the writers at Volition have written themselves into a corner and have nowhere to really go without making it cheap, cheesy, or tacky, and even retconning everything after Saints Row 2 will literally be spitting in the fans' faces that are new to the franchise, that discovered Saints Row from Saints Row the 3rd and up. I want to remind everyone we're all Saints Row fans, just of different breeds. The thing is, we need to come together within this game and unify ourselves around the next Saints Row installment. So I think just a hard reboot of the entire franchise with everything they've learned from the entire Saints Row series from over the years and going back to their roots would be a safe gamble to make, because that's what people are begging for. If Volition is doing a hard reboot and redoing it in an all-new origin story in a new city, but there's still a 3rd street, I would really like to see you get recruited from a little grunt and see you work your way up the ladder to a lieutenant and then later on becoming a boss, similar to how Saints Row 1 and 2 were. Take a moment in the video and let me know down in the comment section below, what type of story would you want to see in the next Saints Row game that could help unify the fan base and also have good continuity? Diverse gangs and gang lore within the next Saints Row installment. Volition needs to have some racial tensions within this game to amplify the realism of gang racism within the real world. But what Volition needs to nail overall is diversifying the gangs of Saints Row. We need to see Russian, Hispanic, Black, neo-Nazi, triad-type gangs that have their own distinct visual identity that differentiates them based on their looks and their style. Each gang should have their specific tattoos that resemble gang lore and culture, such as the triads having very colorful dragon tattoos that mask their entire body, or Russian gangs that wear a wire crown tattoo on their forehead. Or if you were a Chicago-based gang, you could get a teardrop on your cheek near your eye, signifying that you killed someone as an initiation into the gang. With diversifying gangs, we also want to see each gang have a distinct personality, such as the West Side Rollers, who were complete gearheads, Sons of Samdi, who were voodoo worshipping stoners, and the Ronin, who were similar to the ancient samurai clan, trying to duel with katanas to inflate their own egotistical honor system that they live by. A key feature that has been absent from Saints Row is gang colors on vehicles and clothing. In the first Saints Row installment, there were gang colors for rival gangs as well as your own. They were available to use on cars and in the clothing shop. This is something we need to see make a return to the Saints Row franchise within its future titles. What we really want to see is a map jam-packed with a mixed variety of gangs. Say Russians are racist and hate the African American gangs, which causes a rivalry, and the Russians have huge ties to underground fight clubs and gun trades. Let's say the triads are into import cars, high-class organized criminal activity, and have certain fronts. And let's say a Hispanic gang is into lowrider competitions, modding lowriders, and has a huge monopoly on the coke industry, and is similar to that of the Mexican cartel or even the Chicago Latin Kings. Or to even add some more flair, have a New Orleans-based voodoo gang that assassinates people and curses others and only creates weed and LSD that makes people see multiple visions. There's so many gangs that have already been created that they can be reworked. Volition could recycle specific core traits from each gang and create new gangs from their source content and material. Let's even say we can see these power struggles in the world and see actual gangs infiltrate each other's turf, and turf gets taken over by each other's gangs during gang wars, similar to if gangs try and take over your turf as well, and you have to go to the neighborhood and reclaim it for yourself. One thing all players can agree on from the old and new fandoms is they do not want to see the gangs of Steelport to return in future games. What we mean by this is that these gangs in Steelport were extremely uninspired, they were bland, they lacked creativity, diversity, and they overall felt like reskins of all the same gangs with the exact same city, making such gangs lack complete and utter identity within the game. The only identity that these gangs truly had was their skins that they were wearing and the colors they were wearing. but they all operated exactly the same. Seeing that Steelport's gangs were united under a syndicate, it felt like a 1 versus 1 instead of feeling like the odds were truly against you, such as Saints Row 1 and 2 did. This is a major balancing issue because Saints Row 1 and 2 made the player truly feel like it was one gang versus 3 others, establishing a hunger for more power and control of the city to the player. Within Saints Row 2, when Ultor was thrown into the mix, it was even more powerful because a private corporation with the firepower to dismantle the Saints had its sights on you, attempting to take you out and to grow the city economically like the Ultor district in Saints Row. So looking back at Saints Row 2, within reality, it was technically one gang versus 4 other gangs in Saints Row 2, and when you eliminated a gang, it was satisfying to the player, giving them a feeling of progression. Now to the juicy bits of the video. Features and mechanics wishlist in the next Saints Row installment. Some of the features and game mechanics that need to return are reads as follows. Stores being open during the day but closed at night. Add 24/7 types of stores to help players get things that they need immediately. Store robberies being simple, such as Saints Row 1. As soon as you put your gun's ridicule on the cashier, they should immediately put their hands up and take you to the safe. Saints Row 2 was overly difficult to rob stores, and a lot of these individuals seemed very hard-minded. Allow players to open the store safe again, such as Saints Row 1, and gave them the exact same combos that they have to do to spin around. Bring back a fan favorite, allow people to mug individuals within the streets. Diverse fighting styles need to return. Even create an OG fighting style that is reminiscent of Saints Row 1 as a throwback fighting style, or even mechanic. Bring back all unique ranged and melee weapons back from Saints Row 2 with their unique animations. Bring all diversions back of taxi, ambulance, firefighter, hoeing, etc., and even adding new ones such as drug dealing on the streets. Bring back the respect meter. If you want to play the story, you have to earn it. Take over a city and you gotta earn that street cred and clout to earn the opportunities in the hood. Make the game more difficult like Saints Row 1 and 2, and not a menu where you can have unlimited health like Saints Row the 3rd. Saints Row the 3rd had upgrades that felt more as cheat codes than actual legitimate gameplay. This system over-rewarded players, making the game way too easy on any difficulty. Bring back grappling enemies as human shields with their gruesome executions. Add a little bit more blood and gore to the game with blood splatter effects. Do not make activities within the next Saints Row title a part of the story missions. It feels lazy, it feels poorly developed, it feels like the development team didn't have enough time to create missions. It should not be a tiger mission or a tutorial how to do a type of activity within the world. I'd rather do a clear out mission like go to this neighborhood, clear out this place, than do an activity to take over a certain part of the neighborhood, because that is not how it worked within the old Saints Row titles. This breaks the gang-like lore and immersion of turf wars because that's not how it typically works. Turf wars are usually won by bloodshed, not by driving a tiger around in a little taxi. Just to reiterate and clarify, activities need to be separate from the story so it feels like bonus content onto the game and not like story filler. Bring back our most favorited activities such as Fight Club, Demo Derby, Septic Avenger, Crowd Control, and Fuzz. Bring back the ability to just choose what gangs you're going to go after in any sequence you like, similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2. Bring back the night activity of robbing local stores at night and taking boxes and putting them in your trunk to go sell at a pawn shop like Saints Row 1. This was an extremely fun activity to kill some time at night. Try to make sure the gameplay feels arcade-like with a sense of realism in the game similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2. These two titles had a great balance, I believe, of arcadiness and realism within the game. Bring back customizable cribs, interior and exterior. A mechanic that could complement this is being able to upgrade and invest money into your hood and develop that specific neighborhood through donations, similar to how Ultor did to the Row in Saints Row 2, but in the Saints image. Allow players to be able to revive homies with a crack needle in their heart for that good old-fashioned Saints Row humor, or use the original 40-ounce liquor bottle to res them. Either way, it's a funny hell of a time. Bring back consumable food that actually heals us, similar to that of Freckle Bitches. Consumable drugs and gangs goes together like consumable drugs and gangs. Without drugs, gangs can't make some illegal activity. So, adding even more of these would be excellent. Add pipes and bongs to where you can reuse and keep these items within your inventory, and buy dime bags of drugs to use within these pipes and bongs. Make it so if you have these items on you, when you get busted by a police officer, they take it and it's an extra charge on your record, upping the cost to get bailed out of jail. Tattoo culture is a big part of modern society. Add a new tattoo system and piercing system to where there are specific gang types of tattoos that are exclusive to certain gangs, and after you beat these specific gangs, you unlock their clothing styles, tattoos, and exclusive cars. An absolute must is to bring back layered clothing and customization of Saints Row 2, but also add the ghetto clothing of Saints Row 1, where the clothes look baggy. The baggy pants in Saints Row 2 were too form-fitting and didn't feel as ghetto as they should be. Bring back the statistic menus, similar to Saints Row 1, where you could see all you've done on all your characters overall, and even individual character stat sheets as well. New, in-depth character customization and car customization. Add a preset for specific celebrities' faces to play as in-game, or have it on a community uploader in-game to innovate this feature without having to ask permission of these individuals. Create a community uploader of your clothing, tattoo designs, faces, characters, cars that people can download and use in real time. Innovate and add a unique recruitment system to where you can recruit special like gang members and have them specialize in being a great fighter, brawler, shooter, driver, etc. Skills that upgrade when you use them, say as if you fight a lot, you get percent increase to melee damage, or this could also be within activity unlocks. Let's say you become a Fight Club champion and then your melee damage is increased repeatedly the more and more you fight. Allow players to tag anywhere they like. Get rid of it as a collectible, but make it as a mechanic that gives you reputation. Or you could keep it as a collectible in the game, and after you complete all them, you unlock the feature to tag wherever you like. Add an amazing array of new and old songs to the game that players can jam out to, like Saints Row 1 and 2 soundtracks, and even modern rap in today's era. Bring back headphones so you can listen to music while doing missions, similar to Saints Row 1 with your MP3 player. Nowadays, most people usually stream music off of their cell phones, similar to Apple Music. So what you could do is have your own Saints music or something of that nature, or some type of brand that you create in this universe. Bring all former activities back from Saints Row 1 and 2. Add interesting, valuable, creative, and mysterious Easter eggs similar to that of Saints Row 2. A fantastic addition to Saints Row, something I've always wanted to do, is do underwater exploration. Water traffic needs to be increased when you are on the ocean. Enterable buildings need to return, such as in Saints Row 2, secret places to explore similar to SR2, a Saints HQ that upgrades over time similar to SR2, and better gang diversity similar to Saints Row 1 and 2 that include more gang lore. A city that is as in-depth as Stillwater, or a recreation of Stillwater. Formulate the new city how Stillwater was originally crafted. Developers drew inspiration from the south side of Chicago, Baltimore, and so on. Mashup of every very gang-populated city within the US. We would love to see more RPG elements innovated within Saints Row, and we'd really enjoy seeing more of a car culture present within the next Saints Row installment, in vehicle types such as off-roading cars, drift cars, import cars, muscle, exotic sport, economy vehicles, and so on and so forth. Give players the ability to sort vehicle types in their garage to add organization. Own properties other than a home, such as stores, casinos, and being able to customize these properties inside and outside. a tasteful balance of humor and seriousness to the story, similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2. I personally feel that Saints Row 1 and 2 executed the balance of wacky and funny in these two titles, and still, when I replay these titles today, I still chuckle and laugh and enjoy them dearly. We'd really love to see as a community a 2 to 4 player co-op within the game, with each member can have 3 homies on them as well as they progress further throughout their stories. I know this may cause some balancing issues, but when you're in a gang and have many people in numbers, balancing issues are a thing within gangs. If you have more people with you and you, it's going to be extreme overkill, which will be highly realistic to gang culture. If you have 4 co-op members with 3 homies that they can recruit each, that is going to have a vast amount of numbers. If you have 16 gang members, including the co-op partners in that equation, and 3 gang members each co-op partner that you will have 16 homies in total that can murder and kill any enemy that you see on the street. Deemed as more of an old school fan myself, something that I really preferred in the newer titles of Saints Row was Professor Genki. Have it as a mayhem mission of him, a murder dungeon with shooting mascots or rival gang members, in a parkour-like death maze you have to get through that is similar to a platforming style type of game. It seems throughout the Saints Row series that the day and night cycle left. So, we'd love to see the day and night cycle return. 4 season cycles such as spring, summer, fall, and the winter should be added to the next Saints Row installment. Bring back the idling animations from Saints Row 2 and even add new ones where your character will start doing random civilian actions like smoking, standing in a group of people and conversing, and so on and so forth. Add to the game that you can skateboard, longboard, or ride a bicycle as another mode of transportation to travel around the map as a quicker pace than walking and or running. The civilian life system needs to return to create immersion and identity of citizens cutting the grass in the suburbs, or fishermen working at the docks, or people jogging in the suburbs, smoking, etc., just to make the world feel more alive than lived in, such as Saints Row 2. Diversify civilians that add more endgame variety and immersion when it comes to clothing, characteristics, and actions. Another topic that newer fans and the original OG fans of Saints Row would love to see are unique districts to make a return, such as the slums, the factory district, commercial and business district, beach waterfront, tourist districts, the Vegas Strip district with casinos, and so much more. A major aspect of the next Saints Row installment is if it's a new map, it needs to be based off of multiple cities, just how Stillwater was created. If it's a reboot, many players want to see us returning to Stillwater hands down. And if it's a new city and new everything, we would like to see it mashed up from inspirational cities that have tons of gangs and gang lore and history within them. Saints Row 1 wearing styles need to make a return, such as sagging, rolling up pants legs, and so on and so forth. Different and diverse walking styles need to make a return. When someone is in a crib, players want to be able to lay down, play dice games, sit down, play cards, have drinking contests, throw a party, and have weed, coke, and booze. Something of that nature that we could recruit more gang members. With the new recruitment system, people would like to really see if you could recruit anyone off the streets, see what types of specialties they have, and if you want to rank them up and even make them a callable homie, you can choose what this gang member wears. You can even choose a nickname for them. Make it so that there's a feature to where this gang member can even have a permadeath option on higher difficulties, but still have your basic recruits that can die and still be revived. Building off this concept, if a unique recruit dies, make it so you can make a graffiti mural of the character on a wall, similar to that of how Juice WRLD from Chicago has a mural within Chicago. It would be a fantastic way to memorialize this fellow gang member that you've come to love and know over time. We as players want a bulletproof vest that's functional and or can be cosmetic as well. Say you have another layer of health over the one you already have that is a different color, and you can unlock a 25%, 50%, 75%, and lastly, 100% increase from an activity, and you can purchase a new one, or you could go to your crib and get them for free if you unlocked it from the activity. Another thing that Saints Row the Third just got really right is the fun and silly guns that can be destructive, such as the Shark-O-Matic, the Squid Gun, the Apocafists, and the silly Penetrator. The Pimp Cane and the Pimp Slap need to make a return. Gun customization needs a revamp, where you can add and take away parts such as red dots, suppressors, extended mags, scopes, grips, medals, camos, etc. Let's take a page from the Mafia 3 trilogy, where you can coexist with other gangs. This will add another RPG element to the game. We would love to see a rivalry and relationship aspect similar to Mafia 3, where you can divide the city amongst you and existing gangs. Opposing gang leaders can challenge you, or even bow down to you in fear for seeing what you did to another gang, and divide territory and create money deals, or even be able to choose to kill one gang off, or be greedy and take the entire city for yourself. This would add such an extensive layer of role-playing elements to the game that I think every player could really appreciate in the Saints Row franchise. 6 difficulty levels need to return in activities so you can unlock more unique unlockables within the game, instead of them having an easy mode, a normal mode, and a hard mode. Make it so activities give you health boost, melee boost, unlimited sprint, free food, unlimited ammo for specific gun types so that you have to do every gun type, like how it was in Saints Row 2, making it more challenging. Cheat codes should be free and not purchasable as a microtransaction. Saints Row 2 is famed for its fun, wacky, and hilarious cheats, so let's please revitalize this into the next Saints Row installment. Unlimited health should not be a health upgrade. It needs to only be a cheat code. Some of the least loved activities players wouldn't mind seeing going away is Heli Assault, rework drug trafficking, and get rid of Guardian Angel and the Tiger Escort activities. Have actual love interest in the game that's very simplified, or even hookups. Environmental weapons you can pick up and use, such as Saints Row 2. If you want to pick up a cardboard box and kill a homeless man with it, that's your business. More focused radio stations that play only one genre of music, such as 420 Radio and K-Rhyme, and even talk shows of what you do as a Saints leader and what you've done from your most recent missions to even some of your most recent drug benders where you've gone insane. When it comes down to cheat codes, instead of using words to unlock them, please go back to using numbers instead of words. It's much easier to type in. Saints Row 1 and 2 need to have their own melee weapon animations return and not have the same basic animation such as Saints Row the Third had. Re-adding the ability to call random and secret homies, 911, or even different types of services. Better flying mechanics similar to Saints Row 2 and being able to customize planes and boats. When releasing the parachute from the sky or skydiving, you should be able to take your guns out to shoot, while being able to free fall similar to Saints Row the Third's introductory mission. Give players the option to have a realistic mode where they can work out, eat in game to where they get super fat or super buff. Make this a feature that is in a realistic mode, or even an option that players can turn on and off within a menu if they are not fond of it. Add public transportation like taxis, trains, or even buses to still fast travel. Please bring back barber shops. I want to cut my hair, but not for $500. I don't feel like going to a plastic surgeon to get my hair cut. Better moving hair physics should be added within Saints Row. With open world games nowadays, growable hair and facial hair that's growable is a very well-known feature and has become a standard. I would expect nothing less from Saints Row. Movie theaters should return so we can rewatch cutscenes or replay missions, or even allow this as a streaming service at your house within Saints Row. Zombie Uprising should return as a video game, just as superpowers should return in the exact same fashion, either as a video game or a crazy acid trip or shrooms. And when you're on your drug-induced bender, even the news catches you of what you're doing during your rampage and will publish it the following day on the radio or on television. more gang-sounding terminology and voice actors. Trust me, I love Troy Baker, but he doesn't fit the gang-like aspect. We'd love to see some voice actors such as Cholo voice actor, a gangster voice actor such as Saints Row 2, or a deep black voice actor like Benjamin King that's very strong. Or even an Asian voice actor that is very monotone and comes off very menacing, similar to how a lot of the Asian voice actors do within the Sleeping Dogs franchise. Better human and game physics overall. Skills that could be added: precision, driving, flying, health, etc. Please do not have a political agenda in the game like so many other games have. If you want to make the game satire with politics similar to that of Saints Row 2's political humor, I think that would be well appreciated in the Saints Row community. As you go from your rags to riches stories, you should go from robbing liquor stores to high-scale robberies such as robbing a bank, stealing black market goods, and reselling them on the dark net. For post-launch, I believe there should be meaningful DLC such as the Uncut Pack or Ultor Expose should be considered. Head bandanas and face bandanas need to make a return, and a new addition which would be nice, masks should also be added. A detailed living and breathing city. Giving money value and balance so you accumulate tons of money through you taking over the city and owning every neighborhood, and have things to spend it on and invest into such as other neighborhoods and buildings and businesses to grow the city. Have a variety of clothing from poor, middle class, all the way up to high class to extreme high class, and do the same thing with vehicles as well, so we feel a sense of progression, giving us a lot of stuff to spend our money on. Now let's discuss Saints Row Online. In Saints Row 5's multiplayer, I personally believe they need to pull a GTA, make Saints Row 5 online but do not have these insane prices and microtransaction that GTA does, devaluing the money in multiplayer. Perhaps if there are expansions they come up with and we purchase them, that'd be fine to do, such as a new mission to play or even an online story mode that you can partake in. But the difference between this online and GTA 5's should be polar opposite and more consumer friendly than that of Rockstar's games. I understand that companies and gaming companies and investors want to make money, but we can make money the right way. It would be a perfect setting to make multiplayer be about different gangs that have turf wars against other players. As you gain hoods, you get that daily allowance from these controlled territories, and you can tag your turf with your own gang's name/signs and have it change server to server perhaps. Or Volition could have different gang factions that you had to decide who you want to ride or die with. Buy properties and develop your hood and rise to power, infamy, and fame and money. Starting off from nothing, join or even create a gang and rise to power and go from a little good gangbanger to a well-organized crime boss that everyone fears, such as Benjamin King did with the Vice Kings in Saints Row 1. We as a community would also love to see Volition bring back the different modes such as Protect the Pimp, Blinged Out Rides, Deathmatch, and much more from Saints Row 1 and 2's multiplayer modes. The main difference between Saints Row Online and GTA Online would be the main online experience about joining or starting your own gang, rising to power and infamy while making tons of money and trying to stay in power and keep making money in the streets. Make Saints Row Online separate from the story. Base the online feature years upon years before anyone got into power from the story, or even be a parallel universe to where there are tons of leaders like our boss in an alternate reality. Instead of us being the only one being a badass, there are tons of people being badasses, and you gotta grind to be the top dog. Add levels, add street cred, reputation among the city of who you are and who you ride with and the colors you fly. Volition could potentially make this experience similar to GT Online, where you can customize an online character, buy clothing, cars, and properties, make it so that there is a car auction and even a website where players can sell their own personal cars, based off of a dev system that values the car so that they don't put a crazy number in and overshoot the price of their vehicle and sell your old cars to other players. I'd love to see if you could pick out your own gang name and color and emblem in the game, and even create your own styled gang clothes with layered clothing customization like Saints Row 2. Be a boss or even join another gang, have a respect level in each gang, and make permanent and temporary gangs and servers. Join and rise the ranks to become someone else's second in command. Add drinking games, parties, drive-bys, and turf wars. Create the ultimate crime simulation experience from going to rags to riches, and if need be, launch the online mode later on, similar to how Rockstar did. Start off as the little guy and become a criminal tycoon within the new city that we inhabit in the next Saints Row title, and you can see it in Saints Row Online. If Volition was listening to this would be my pitch for Saints Row Online. I personally would like to shout out all the channels I watched to compile our community's wish list into one video along with some of my own personal ideas. Many of those reflect within the multiplayer of Saints Row Online. But I'd personally like to thank Mr. Saints Godzilla 21, Flippy, Official FTG, JB11 Games, ScissorUp.mp3, and Saints Nemesis for help making this video possible. I understand that a lot of these content creators did not help me directly with this video, but they did help me indirectly with their fantastic communities that surround these channels. If you're looking to become a part of these Saints Row communities as well, the links to their channels will be down in the description below if you want to go check them out. Personally, one of my favorites that I enjoy listening to is JB11 Games. Check him out if you love seeing Saints Row videos consistently all the time. Also, I have great news for subscribers and even new members to the channel that have just discovered me. I personally have created an official Discord for this channel that all of you can join. Also, I do have a Patreon link up if you do want to further support me, but both links will be down in the description below if you are interested in such things. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure to subscribe because 91.6% of you are not yet subscribed, and I'd really love to see you around the channel more often and converse with you guys. What are your thoughts about the multiplayer and single player? What do you want to see? Let's brainstorm together and see what we can come up with. Let me know down in the comment section below of what you want to see in the next Saints Row title. Make sure to hit that tiny little itty bitty bell icon to get notified once a week and when a new video does go live. Please stay tuned for more videos and future news. I really do hope all you enjoyed your time with me, as I always do with you, your host, AtomicDudMan, and until next time.